All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hey Guys. Hey, we're back again with OnShape, still on the computer, don't worry. The iPad app video is coming soon. All right, so when we last stopped, we were at this point on our screen, right? So we had created a new document. Now what do we do? Well, let's talk about a few things that you can see going on right now. So over here on this side, you see this funny cube. What this cube does is this is our view cube. So if I click on different parts of this, it's going to change my view for me. And it's going to do it like absolute. Now, I can also just click and hold on my right mouse button. And by the way, I always recommend when you're doing CAD work on a computer, use a mouse. There's so many more controls when you do that. So if I click and hold my right mouse key, I can pan around. If I click and hold my left mouse key, I can begin to highlight. Now I don't have anything done right now, so highlighting doesn't work. And then if I scroll on my scroll wheel, it will zoom me in and out. And if I press down on my scroll wheel and move around, that will pan rather than orbit. I think I might have said that this was pan. This is orbit with the right mouse key pressed down. What the block does that's really nice is it will give you that absolute view that you're looking for. So if you want to look at the bottom of it, if you want to look kind of at the lower left corner, or you want to look at the left side, that's where you can rotate that around. Additionally, if you've got your mouse over that cube, you can rotate it around, orbit it around, so you can go, what I really want to see is the top, but you are already on the left, and you're like, wait, I want to get to the top. So you can scroll around, like orbit around, and click on the top, and then you're on the top. This little box right here will give you a lot of choices. Where I use this the most is just to go back to an isometric view. Isometric view is going to give you a front, right, top view, the way it's oriented. All right, so what's going on in here? So what we have here is we have three different planes. We have the front plane, which is, you can see it highlighted yellow. We have the right plane, which you can see highlighted yellow, and those are perpendicular to each other. And then we have the top plane. So the top plane is kind of like, think of it as like the ground level. And then this dot in the center, well, that's our origin point. And that's going to be an important point as we begin to create documents. All right, so then over here, what we have on the left side, this is going to start to populate with everything that we do. So when I go to start a sketch, which is how we start every OnShape document, you're going to see sketch show up, and we'll start to do some things out here. And then when we go to make this three-dimensional, well, then you'll see the sketch, and you'll see maybe extrude next, or revolve, or whatever, however you make it three-dimensional. This will start to populate every move you make. This will come in handy as we continue on. Now, while we're talking about that, as you can see, every time I scroll over something, you see this little eyeball right here. That is your ability to see what that is. So if you look and see, if I click that eyeball on the right plane, my internet is running very slow, it will hide that right plane. If I want to just be able to see the top plane, then I can hide the front and the right plane. If I want to see it back, I just click on that eyeball, and there it's back. All right? This will make more sense as we continue on. All right, so you should know that unless you're in sketch mode, which we're going to go into in just a second, all of these tools up here are considered 3D tools. So there's something that you can do to a three-dimensional object. We don't have a three-dimensional object yet. We have to start to make one. To make something, we always start with the two-dimensional sketch. So we're going to go to sketch. We're going to click on sketch. a new dialog box is going to open up. And so, see, just like I told you, this is going to start to add stuff in as we go. All right, so every time these dialog boxes open up, you got to look and see what's on top. What do they want me to do first? So here, OnShape is saying, hey, you got to pick a sketch plane. We can't draw if you don't tell us where to draw. So we can either come out here in the space, or we can select from here. So I can select top plane, and now you can see that I've got this sketch box opened up, and it's in the top plane, right? Now, one of the things about OnShape that I really wish they would change is that when you click on sketch, that it just automatically took you to the view that you need. Unfortunately, it doesn't. There's a couple ways you can do that. So you can click on top, and that will take you to that view. That's the way I normally do. Or you can click on your keyboard N, and what N stands for is normal to view. All right, and then there's one more way. If I come over here and right click, oh, I'm lying, that's not it. On the iPad, there's 3 little dots over here, and you can click normal to view. Doesn't exist on the computer's part. All right, so I'll go ahead and click N. So now I'm in sketch mode, and look, all these tools have changed. These are all now sketch tools. There's still 2 3-dimensional tools, but we'll get to those in a second. So what do I have? I have line, I have rectangle, but look, there's a drop-down list next to rectangle. So I can either draw a corner rectangle or a center point rectangle. So a center point rectangle, let's do the corner rectangle. So corner rectangle, you click on one corner, drag out away, and you get a second corner, right? Now I still got a hold of that tool, so if I click again, I'm going to make another rectangle. Click again, another rectangle. Oh no, I keep making rectangles. What do I do? What do I do? I didn't want that many rectangles. All right, well, we're going to just come over here and do the undo key. Undo key when you're starting off, it's your best friend, man. It's your best friend. All right, so now what do we do? Well, I didn't want to do a 2-corner, so let's go ahead and undo that again. What about this other kind of rectangle? What about a center point rectangle? Well, now we're going to pick our center point. Well, I don't know what happened here. Go back, grab that center point rectangle again. I don't know what went wrong right there, but I'm going to grab that. All right, I don't know what's going on, so what am I going to do? Undo. All right, now we're back to, wants me to select a sketch plane. I'm going to select that top. I went too many back. All right, so you see, even when you're experienced with it, sometimes you might accidentally click on something, you don't know what's going on. Undo, man. Undo is your best friend. All right, so center point rectangle, just real quick, let's just keep moving. We click in the middle, and that's going to create a rectangle that's always centered around that center point that we clicked on. Now in this case, I clicked on the origin, and that's where you usually want to make your first point on any sketch. But I just want to show you that if I click somewhere else out in space, you'll see where that center point is. All right? All right. So let's go back. Are we okay with that? Yeah, maybe we are, but maybe we know right from the beginning we want a hole in there. So what's some of our other options? All right, so I have a circle. So center point circle, that's the most common kind of circle. We might have a 3-point circle. We could have an ellipse. Let's move on down the line. What else do we have? We have an arc. Multiple types of arc. These are going to come in so handy as we continue on. 3-point arc, I use it all the time. Tangent arc, all the time. I think you'll start to get the habit of these as we continue and do more exercises together. All right, what's next? Next is a polygon, inscribed polygon or a circumscribed polygon. Polygon is just multiple beyond a rectangle. Remember, a square is also a rectangle. So 5 sides, 6 sides, 7, 8, as many sides as you need. The next one down from there is the spline. Spline is where you can make kind of like serpentine lines. You can make a spline or you can make a spline point. So if you've made a spline and you need another point where you can move that line around a little bit, spline point. Another tool in the sketch is a point. You're probably wondering, why would I want to make a point? We will get to that coming up. We can add text to our shapes. We can extrude them or cut them in. And then we can, the rest of these, we're just not going to worry. We're not going to worry about this project convert. We don't ever use that. This right here is a great tool, the construction tool. This will allow me to make lines that don't, that OnShape is going to kind of ignore. They're like lines that I need to work from. All right. We'll get to the rest of these in just a little bit. All right, so now I've got a rectangle, right? Let's just cut right to the chase. Let's go ahead and make it three-dimensional. The easiest way to make this three-dimensional is while I'm still in Sketch is to click on this button right here, and that's Extrude. Again, so look, over here on the left side, we got a new thing going on. This is Extrude 1. When we look at the menu that it's given us, we see right off from the top, it wants to know, is it going to be new, add, a remove, or an intersect? For right now, it's our first extrude, so it's going to be new. If this were an additional extrude after we've made our initial shape, we'd be on add. Unless we were trying to cut something away, then we'd be on remove. We'll get to intersect later in some other lessons. We come down here, we already know we want the faces of sketch 1, but if there was something else going on and that wasn't what we want, we might click on X down here in the corner, get rid of that, and select what we want. Moving on down, we've got blind. What does blind mean? That means it's just going to extrude it as far as we tell it we want it to go without it like looking out for anything else. So it's like it's blind. There's other choices. We might be trying to fill in some space between two objects. So we might want to use up to next, or up to face, very similar, or up to part. There might be two parts in our document. Up to vertex we'll get to in a later assignment. And if we were cutting, we might want to cut all the way through whatever we're working on. In this case, I'm just going to leave it at blind. Now, unfortunately, I'm in inches. I told you guys to work in metric. I forgot to change my units. I'm just going to go with that. And what we have now, you're like, wait, nothing happened. Well, let's go over here to isometric and take a look. All right, guys, congratulations. You made your first three-dimensional object. We'll move on from there in our next lesson.